What is propaganda?
Propaganda is defined as information, ideas, or rumors deliberately spread to help or harm a person, group, or movement. Simply put, propaganda is anything meant to convince you to feel or act a certain way. Testimonials may be the one propaganda technique that you are most familiar with. Testimonials can be characterized by their use of endorsements. But what is an endorsement exactly? By definition, an endorsement is a formal approval or sanction. So in the world of advertising, a famous athlete, actor, or other public figure gives their stamp of approval on a product, service, or company. And it basically works like this. Famous person X says product Y is good. You like famous person X, so you'll try the product. The idea is to play off of your respect or admiration for the celebrity and transfer it to what is being sold to you. Framing is probably the most deceptive propaganda technique you are likely to come across. The chief characteristic of this technique is its use of bias. Bias is defined as a particular tendency or inclination, especially one that prevents fair consideration of the idea or topic being presented. Put simply, if you are using bias, you are picking and choosing the facts that support your argument and ignoring those that do not. Bias and framing work hand in hand because with framing, you are only getting one side of the story. Basically, framing could be identified less by what you are told and more by what you are not. This campaign poll, taken from the 2008 presidential election between Barack Obama and John McCain, is meant to measure public opinion of how the two candidates will handle a handful of issues. While it may look good at first, there are quite a few problems with it in terms of the information being left out. For starters, how many people were surveyed? Who exactly were these people being asked the questions on the issues? For that matter, there's almost no information given about what questions were asked. What exactly about education or taxes was asked? How were the questions worded? 100 people might give a different set of results than 1,000 people, and a room full of Republicans would more than likely give different results than a room full of Democrats. A poorly worded question can give skewed results if it leads to a misunderstanding. So this poll, while it looks like an accurate measurement of what people think, certainly has its flaws. Two out of every 5 fatal automobile accidents was due to drinking. 33% of the drivers involved in fatal accidents had been drinking. 24% of pedestrians involved in fatal accidents had been drinking. Therefore, alcohol intoxication is a major cause of automobile accidents, and drunk driving must be dealt with harshly.
As opposed to 3 out of every 5 fatal automobile accidents did not involve drinking. 67% of the drivers involved in fatal accidents had not been drinking. And 76% of the pedestrians involved in accidents had not been drinking. Therefore, sobriety is undoubtedly the major cause of fatal automobile accidents, and sober driving must be outlawed immediately and punished harshly.
Bandwagon is a very powerful propaganda technique. Bandwagon itself is defined as a party, cause, or movement which by its mass appeal or strength readily attracts many followers. This technique is unique because it does not have any specific characteristic, but instead can be identified because of the way that it plays off of our natural want or need to be part of the crowd or to be accepted by those around us. Bandwagon leads us to ask questions like, if everyone else is doing it, why shouldn't we?
Hey Steelers fans, your team just won Super Bowl 43. Don't miss out on their collective memorabilia. Call now.
Working through propaganda is sometimes easier said than done. It forces us to stop and ask questions of ourselves rather than to go ahead and do what we see as right, cool, or maybe even expected. Here are some questions to ask yourself when being faced with testimonial propaganda. How do I really feel about the product itself? For example, try to separate any attachment you may have to the athlete selling you the Nike sneakers and focus on the shoes themselves. Is the product really as good as the endorser says it is? You might need to do a little research or even ask around to friends and family. Remember, the endorser is being paid to say that the product is good. Someone you know personally who uses the product is more likely to give you details, good or bad. When being faced with framing, ask yourself, what do I know about this product or topic? Do you know any information that the advertiser is leaving out, possibly intentionally? Even if you don't know everything about what is being discussed, sometimes knowing that they are lying about even part of the story is helpful. How is the information being presented? This is especially helpful with statistics. Like we saw with the quotes concerning drunk driving and the ground beef example, facts like this can be swapped and switched around fairly easily, resulting in sometimes very different arguments. To avoid bandwagon propaganda, ask yourself things like this. Is what is popular really that good? Focus more on the product and less on the crowd. It might seem unnatural, but sometimes you don't want to do what everyone else does. If a product is a waste of money, then it is a waste of money, regardless of how many people around you like it. Do you really need the product? Sometimes the sense of urgency that bandwagon produces makes you feel like you need something that you really don't. Before buying into the ad, stop and think about how much use you will really get out of the product. You might change your mind.